those things. So for a lot of reasons, it felt impossible or unfair for me to be mad at her mom. But I knew the Virgen. And I couldn't picture my friend's mom, but I could picture the Virgen sitting there smiling at this jerk. And I could picture my friend having to walk by and look at it every day. And it just really infuriated me. So I started writing letters to her. I wrote a few different kind of versions of letters to her, and I didn't intend that to be a monologue or a play. I was just really angry. And I wasn't even writing about that issue in particular. I was just, I don't know, just lots of things started to come up for me. I was like, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about the other? Like, if you're divine, you're so powerful, you should have been able to do something about that. And then in a workshop with Adelina Anthony, who's a solo performer and playwright, who's awesome, I was able to shape it into a monologue that actually has a lot of comedy in it. Well, I guess as I was just saying earlier, there are a lot of abrupt tone shifts within the piece. It goes from serious to funny, back to serious, back to funny. And I think there's, and it's a pretty short play, so all this happens pretty quickly. So I think there's lots of moments where audiences are like, oh, like, is this a funny moment now? Or is this a serious moment? Like, I don't know, you're not really broadcasting to me how I'm supposed to be responding to this. So that's always interesting to me, to kind of hear who's the first person to laugh, and it's usually kind of a tentative laugh. When I first wrote the piece where I'm asking the Virgen a lot of questions and kind of talking a lot of smack to her, Adelina told me, like, you know, people, they might have some pretty negative reactions to this. Like, there's some Guadalupanos that would lynch you, but you're asking really important questions, and it's a really important piece, so just hang on to it. I spent a semester as an undergraduate studying in Peru, and got to live and learn with people who lived in deep relationship with the land and with the earth, and got to learn and experience some of what their cosmologies and their spiritual traditions were like. So, I mean, that had a big impact on me, and I remember in catechism classes in the Catholic Church asking a lot of questions, having a lot of doubts and kind of cynicism and skepticism, and never quite being satisfied with the answers I was getting. But when I was there and people told me, like, oh, well, the earth is sacred and those mountains are gods, my response was just like, oh, yes. Like, duh. Of course. I didn't really have any intelligent or cynical or skeptical questions to ask about it. It just felt really intuitively true to me. So it made me really curious to learn more about similar traditions in my own spiritual traditions and in the place that I called home. And I already had, for a long time, felt more connected to Mary or to the Virgen de Guadalupe than to, like, God with a capital G. But I think that just strengthened it and gave me a lot more impetus to kind of do some reading and do some studying and see what else I could find out about all that. To me, theater is ritual, and there's something about live performance that is sacred and that is really special. There's an energy and an electricity that is in the air during a really tight, really awesome live performance that just is never going to happen when you're watching TV or a movie. Not any disrespect to TV or movies, but I just think it's different.